Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. If you grew up in the 90s, there's a good chance you played this game at least once. I was one of the lucky kids who did. Whenever I think about this game, it brings back some of my happiest childhood memories. I remember sitting next to my best friend, sharing one TV and one NES. He always gave me the better controller, while he kept the old one, the one with the buttons, that barely worked. Somehow, that never stopped us from having an amazing time. All right, enough with the memories. Let's go all the way back to the 90s. Press start and jump into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. As usual, Shredder shows up, kidnaps our friend April, and of course, it's up to us to rescue her. So, let's get moving. The game throws us straight into the action. We fight our way through dozens of foot soldiers. Some attack with knives, others throw boomerangs, and the stage is filled with plenty of traps, trying to slow us down. After clearing them all, we finally reach the first boss, Rocksteady. Back when I was a kid, he felt almost impossible to beat. I remember losing to him over and over again. Now, he feels surprisingly easy. Funny how growing up changes your perspective. The second stage takes us aboard a ship. Right away, the game introduces even more obstacles. There are new Foot Clan enemies, hidden cannons that suddenly pop out and fire at you, and plenty of hazards along the way. After fighting through all of that, we finally face the next boss. Back then, he gave me a really hard time. I still remember that the only way I could beat him was by playing as Raphael. His spinning attack made it much easier to dodge the boss's attacks. Now, he barely puts up a fight. It's funny how the bosses that once seemed impossible feel almost laughably easy today. The third stage takes place on the floating island of Manhattan, the piece of New York Shredder ripped away. Let's keep moving. This stage keeps the action going. The game introduces even more enemy types. Huge foot soldiers armed with machine guns, heavy bruisers carrying clubs, and of course, plenty of grenades flying across the screen. Halfway through the level, we're challenged by a giant mutant turtle. He looks intimidating, but compared to my childhood memories, he goes down without much trouble. After fighting through wave after wave of foot soldiers, we finally reach Bebop. He was always one of the most memorable characters in the series. As a kid, I thought this fight was much harder. Now I know exactly where to stand. And once you learn his pattern, the battle becomes surprisingly easy. With Bebop defeated, it's time to move on. The fourth stage keeps raising the stakes. We're pushing deeper into the floating piece of Manhattan, and the enemies just keep getting tougher. Armored robots, massive mutants carrying bazookas, foot ninjas with swords, whips, and clubs, kamikaze robots that explode the moment they reach you. The level is packed with flying barrels, rolling metal debris, and hazards coming from every direction. Surprisingly, the stage itself isn't too difficult, at least not until the boss. Our next challenge is a giant mutant rat, armed with an energy beam and a massive pickaxe. I guess digging is his favorite hobby. This is where the game finally starts fighting back. For the first time in this playthrough, I lose a life. Even today, this boss can still catch me off guard. But one life isn't enough to stop the turtles. With the boss defeated, we move on to the next stage. Stage 5 is where the game really starts to test you. The enemies become much more aggressive. Foot ninjas are everywhere, throwing knives from a distance, while exploding flying drones dive straight at you. Small robots suddenly burst out of the ground, trying to catch you off guard. At this point, I'm doing everything I can to save my lives. There are still 3 stages left, and I know I'll need every chance I can get. The first boss is a heavily armored robot. Getting too far away is a bad idea. The moment you give him some space, he starts launching fireballs, leaving you just enough time to get hit again. The safest strategy is to stay close, keep the pressure on, and don't let him control the fight. Fortunately, we defeat him without losing a single life. But the level isn't finished yet. More robots, more foot ninjas, and even more enemies stand in our way. Finally, the game rewards us with a slice of pizza. Unfortunately, That little health boost isn't enough for what's coming next. Our second boss slowly emerges from the water, a giant mutant crocodile. At first, the fight isn't too bad, but once he starts flashing and he enters his second phase, now he's firing projectiles, grabbing the turtles, and dealing much more damage. He manages to take one of my lives, but that's all he gets. The crocodile goes down, and we move on to the next stage. The next stage takes us into the Technodrome. This is where the real challenge begins. Every corridor is packed with enemies. New robots appear. Some jump backward the moment you get close. Then immediately open fire. The safest option is to attack them from above or below before they have a chance to react. Then come the three-legged laser robots, floating spear drones, and tiny attack helicopters that are surprisingly difficult to hit. I'm definitely glad I picked Leonardo. His longer reach makes dealing with these enemies much easier as we push deeper into the Technodrome. We even see robots being assembled right in front of us. Then comes one of my favorite sections, a giant moving conveyor belt. While it's carrying us forward, we're forced to dodge electric lasers, fight off endless waves of robots, and somehow avoid getting knocked into everything around us. The Technodrome never gives you a chance to relax. At the end of the stage, a giant gorilla blocks our path. His attacks can even trap you inside a giant egg. Fortunately, he doesn't put up much of a fight. With the gorilla defeated, the doors suddenly open, and there he is. Shredder! The battle is exactly as intense as you'd expect. He dashes across the screen, throws us around, and strikes with incredible speed. He even manages to take one of my lives. But in the end, Shredder is defeated. April is finally safe. It feels like the adventure is over until Shredder gets back up, turns around, and runs away. Without wasting a second, we chase after him. Our chase after Shredder continues. The stage begins on a giant elevator, taking us higher and higher into the Technodrome. Wave after wave of robots, and foot soldiers try to stop us. Massive metal containers keep crashing down around us, releasing swarms of tiny robots that immediately cling to the turtles. They're small, but incredibly annoying. Fighting on a moving elevator isn't easy. Flying drones, new robotic enemies, and obstacles keep appearing from every direction. Just when we think it's over, a storm of heavy machinery starts raining down on us. After surviving the elevator, we climb even higher. More mutants, more robots, more foot soldiers. By this point, the game is throwing everything it has at us. Then, our next boss appears, a gigantic armored mutant turtle. Unlike the others, you can't simply jump in and attack. His shield blocks almost every aerial strike. He constantly knocks us back, trying to throw us into electrified walls. It's a long battle. Every hit has to count. In the end, we defeat him with our final few attacks. Just when we think we're finally about to catch Shredder, a mysterious beam suddenly pulls him into a massive spaceship. Without hesitation, we chase after him once again. The final battle is getting closer. Our chase after Shredder leads us aboard his space station. By now, the game throws almost every enemy we've faced back at us. Wave after wave of foot soldiers, robots, flying drones, three-legged laser machines, and even ninjas that suddenly appear through portals. It's like the game saved everything for one final challenge. Luckily, by this point, we already know how to deal with most of them. After fighting through another army of enemies, we grab one last slice of pizza. We'll need every bit of health for what's waiting ahead. The first boss falls without much trouble, but then Krang finally appears. He attacks with bombs, fires powerful energy blasts, and refuses to give us a moment to breathe. Then the fight becomes even crazier. His body splits apart. The upper half swings a massive hammer, while firing lasers at the same time. The lower half keeps chasing us around the room. The best opportunity to attack comes when his body joins back together. After a long battle, Krang is finally defeated. His brain escapes and disappears through a teleport. But the adventure isn't over yet. Shredder steps forward, drinks a mysterious mutagen, and transforms into Super Shredder. He's enormous. He teleports across the room, launches lightning attacks, and hits harder than any boss before him. This fight costs me almost everything. Life after life disappears, but I refuse to give up. With my very last life, I finally finally defeat Super Shredder. The space station begins to collapse. We escape just in time aboard the Turtle Blimp. Manhattan returns safely to its rightful place. The city is saved. April is safe. The turtles celebrate. And just like that, another unforgettable childhood adventure comes to an end.